This is an initiative we're really excited about. A few years back, we started to hear from farmers about agritourism issues, and this is a growing sector of agriculture in Ohio. And really, agritourism's any activity where consumers are coming onto the farm to experience agriculture in some way. So we're talking about a pretty wide array of activities. But we did start to hear from some farmers about some issues related to barriers that they faced. And so we said, well, at Farm Bureau, that's one of the things that we want to try and tackle, is helping farmers forge these relationships between consumers. And so we started to do some research and look into some of the issues that we were hearing from farmers. There's really three main issues that we heard from farmers that they were having problems with. One is the cost of insurance and liability issues. Of course, as you can imagine, to carry liability insurance on a farm, it's already pretty costly. But you start to add components where you're inviting the public onto your farm. The farm can be a dangerous place, and insurance policies can be pretty costly. So one of the things that we looked at that we saw in other states was an approach to limit liability for farmers who invite the public onto their farms. Define what inherent risks for consumers are in participating in agritourism, and then provide liability protection for farmers for just those inherent risks. We think it will provide a better environment in the state of Ohio for insurance coverage. Insurers will see agritourism operations as a much safer investment in terms of providing that policy to them, and we think it'll provide a better environment. We also heard from farmers about zoning issues, and so one of the issues that agritourism creates is kind of this gray area. Right now in the state of Ohio, agriculture is not subject to zoning at the local level at townships and counties. But when you start to add agritourism opportunities on those farms, it gets into that gray area. Is this agriculture? Is this not? We think it is. We think this is clearly an agriculture. And so one of the things we wanted to do is clarify that agritourism is still considered agriculture, and therefore agritourism is subject to the exemption from zoning at the local level. And then the final issue we've heard about in a few instances around the state, again, when you add agritourism to a farm, the question of whether that land that the agritourism is taking place on qualifies for CAUV, for property tax valuation. And this is another important component. As you know, this program is vitally important to agriculture. We wanted to make sure that agritourism is not considered a disqualifier for the CAUV program, and that's really important. We really want to see a great grassroots movement. We want to hear from farmers who are involved in this issue. There are chances to come before the House and the Senate here at the state legislature to testify on this issue. We have two bills pending in each chamber right now that address this issue that Farm Bureau has worked on with lawmakers to have introduced. And so there's opportunities to testify. There's opportunities to write to your lawmakers, phone calls to your lawmakers about how important this legislation is. We'd love to have some outreach from farmers really from all across the state. So they can contact Farm Bureau, get in touch with me. We can provide you that contact information, but lots of opportunities to engage at the grassroots level on this issue.